Hello my dear friends, I wish you wisdom. Welcome back to my channel. A while ago I created a video in which I answered a few of your questions, but I left a few aside just because they were related to one another and I wanted to create a separate video for them. Okay, so basically George wanted to know what is the most extraordinary manifestation or accomplishment so far and how did I get it. Grandom mentioned again this remarkable manifestation and synchronicity. Kevin asked how to be able to manifest a different world for yourself, and Coco Jo asked how do you understand synchronicity and how to act on that understanding. So these questions and comments are all related, and in this video we will speak about synchronicity and how to actually experience it for yourself. Okay, so I will start first by excusing myself that if you hear some noise in the background is because some of my neighbors are actually installing their furniture. So that's that. Okay, so let's start into today's teaching and sharing. So I don't have anything scripted or written down or any other notes for this video, so I will go with the flow. Now, I cannot explain to you synchronicity unless I share with you some of my personal experiences with it. I didn't have any clue about synchronicity. I've read about the definition of synchronicity and coincidences, but I wasn't able to understand it on a deeper level until I actually went through a recapitulation of my life, which is an exercise that I got from Carlos Castañeda's books about shamanism, in which Don Juan mentioned that he took some days for this very specific process in which you start to go through all your memories and to analyze them and basically to recap all your life events. And I mentioned this fact first, this book first about shamanism written by Carlos Castañeda, because certain experiences, certain synchronistic experiences led me to this very book, and others as well. So I will get back a little bit in history, so to speak, just because I want to share with you my story, and in this manner I am able to use something that I experienced in order to present it as a lesson, maybe from which you can draw some clues and some tips. So I want to share with you this specific manifestation because this one is what actually paved the way for me in terms of what I practice in this spiritual journey. So back in the day when I was really young and I got access to the internet, I started to read Book of Shadows. But for me, these books were very silly at the time. I did not believe in them. I didn't actually use them or use any of those spells written in them. They were just like a fun thing to read, and that's about it. And I was reading a bunch of other things as well, but never in my early days was I interested in spirituality on a deeper level. I was just like reading a novel and stuff like that. And before I started to work on this channel, I actually had another channel about perfumes because I was very passionate about perfumes. I believe that I will be a perfume creator at some point, And I enjoyed actually collecting a lot of perfumes and to perfect my smell sense. But one day I just got bored with that subject. I was just like over it. I don't want to do this anymore. I mean, I enjoy perfumes to this day, but it wasn't my real thing. Okay, so in this particular day, I don't know what came over me, but I wanted to do a meditation. I just felt this urge to do a meditation. And I always thought till that day that meditation is something like you just sleep on your chair, something like that. So I never believed in meditation till that day. So here I am in my living room, trying to sit relaxed and to watch my breath, because this is the most basic meditation that you can do, to focus on your breath. And soon enough, after I did that, I started to see into my mind's eye, but it felt more real than in just normal imagination. I started to see these colors morphing and moving into each other, very bright colors. And I started to get really scared. My heart started to get a bit anxious and agitated. And I just started to speak with myself to keep going and to relax, because everything is okay. So the very next thing that happened, I heard a word, which is actually a word of power. And I will share this word of power with you today, because now I am ready to share it. Back in the day, I was not. After I heard that word through my entire being, through my entire body, I got very scared. Very, very scared of meditation, that you may think it's silly, but I was very scared. So scared that I was afraid to go to sleep. I was afraid to be alone. I was afraid to not have music playing all the time near me. So that experience was really scary for me at that particular time. After a while, I started to build enough courage to meditate again, to actually start searching about meditation. So basically that experience got me into searching more about spirituality, about paranormal phenomena and things of that nature, just based on this single experience. Then I started to send various messages to people who practice magic, telling them about my experience and to tell me what this experience means and what this word is all about and why it happened to me. I mean, looking back, if I will receive today those messages that I sent to those people, probably I wouldn't answer them at all as well, because that happened to me. They didn't reply. I was very down, and yeah. So anyway, I was acting very stupid back in the day. Now I've grown up a little bit into this magical practice. But anyway, long story short, after that particular event and me trying to reach out to other people to see what this thing is all about, I found a channel called Mind and Magic. And this guy recommended a book about ceremonial magic, a certain system to follow. So I was so desperate that I wasn't accessing my intuition or paying attention to my inner feelings at all. I was just desperate to find out what it's all about and to start to practice magic. However, after I started to practice and practice with diligence, with very high motivation and willingness, this system, as I was practicing it, I just felt every time I picked up that book that this is not for me. This is not for me. Every single day, I was feeling that nudge in my gut that was actually telling me that I am not going the right way, for me at least. So I was very motivated to do this ceremonial magic work and to keep up with the exercises. However, I was not accessing my intuition. I was not paying attention to my inner feelings, my gut instincts, so to speak. And it came a period in which certain things started to happen in my life that I was asking myself, what the hell am I doing? Why I am not using meditation and contemplation to actually bring forth the right path for myself. So one day, I was started to be sick and tired of these little nudges, these interior nudges that I got every single day when I was about to do my practice. And I was in my kitchen and I started to speak with myself as if I was speaking to another person. I was speaking to my higher self. And I remembered that I was crying and begging and praying to be given a sign, a clear sign, in order to understand if this is my path to follow or not. And after this praying session, this deep praying session, I felt the urge to actually start to do the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. So I got up. Again, that's how you understand true synchronicity, by paying attention to these nudges, okay? So I got up. I started to do the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, and when I moved to south, I don't want to get into details of what happened, but my body got paralyzed and I could hear the message that this is not the right path for me. It may be the right path for other people, but not for me, because we are not meant to walk on the same path. At the end of the day, we have to find our own. That event was very profound for me. I will never forget it. And it was the proof for me that there is actually something else out there, and that these people who practice magic are not crazy. There is something else out there, and you will find it only if you practice. If you read about it, it will do nothing for you. If you read, for example, the Kybalion and about those laws that are presented in the book, you will gain just a bit of understanding. If you read about ceremonial magic, again, it's just, I don't know, dust in the wind. But if you practice, you will experience firsthand crazy things, which people say they aren't real, but they are. And then when you experience them, and if someone comes to you with a long email telling you about all the reasons that these things aren't real, you just cannot reply back, because it's a waste of time to speak with someone who doesn't understand. It's just a waste of time. So after this incident, I was reminded again, and I remembered again that word, that Hebrew word that haunted my meditations. and that word is ATTAH, which is a Hebrew word which means envelop oneself. So after that day, I reserved a few minutes each day to meditate, which I highly recommend you to do so as well. And all I did in those meditations was to try to silence my mind. And when I felt that my mind was really, really still, in those moments I asked for specific things. And the very first thing that I asked was to be given material or a system easy to follow that can be the base of my spiritual practice. Obviously, I got nothing in the meditation, nothing at all, but I knew from the previous system that I must trust and I must have faith in these things that will come to pass. You may feel at this point that I'm deviating or that I'm speaking about myself, but it's not that. What I'm trying to say is that you'll understand true manifestation and synchronicity only when you act. And this is a thing that I repeated over and over and over again in my videos. You will understand synchronicity and how to move in the flow only when you act based on the messages or information that you get from the spirit. Only when you are aware, you will be able to pick this up. Because at first, it was hard for me. It was hard for me to understand what intuition means. It was hard for me to understand what is that small voice within that all people speak about. I mean, if you are a beginner, believe me, I've been in your shoes and it's like you are learning a new language, okay? It's very hard in the beginning, but if you keep going with the practice, you will get to the point where you understand what these people that appear crazy speak about. So let me continue. I started to feel a bit upset that I did not got my answer to my prayer. However, I started to feel this urge that maybe it should be a good idea to do some visualization work. So I decided upon a goal, and my goal was to manifest into my physical reality a system, a book, or something that I can follow and that is the right thing for me to follow in terms of magical practice. So I started to enter into a relaxed state and I imagined myself into this beautiful garden, and then in this meditation, which is similar to the full moon ritual guided meditation that I created, is basically the same thing that I did back in the day. I visualized in this meditation how I was holding a book which contained various spiritual and magical practices, and how I was very happy that I found this book that had all these amazing exercises for me to follow. I ended my meditation with gratitude. I said, thank you higher self for bringing me this amazing book of magical exercises. I'm so grateful. So basically I was acting as if I was already having this magical book, although in reality I did not. So every day I tried my best to keep my vibration high by listening to motivational videos, by playing high vibrational music in my home. And in one particular day, we decided to go out to dinner to a few friends, which are also co-workers with us. So here we are. I am with my fiance, this friend of ours, which is also our one of our co-workers, is there with his girl, and we started talking. We started sharing things, personal stuff and things like that nature. But we never to that point spoke about meditation or spirituality or anything of that nature. But that night the subject occurred. Long story short, I don't want to go into much detail. This guy was actually practicing the initiation into hermetics by Franz Bardon, and he was actually the one who introduced me to this book. And this was the synchronistic event that actually led to the manifestation of my desire, which was to have a book with a bunch of fantastic and simple exercises that I can do on a regular basis, which did not require any tools or any of that. I was super happy with the practice that Franz Bardon laid out in his book, but one day again I started to feel and to hear these little nudges that I have to listen to a specific song. So I searched the song on YouTube. However, this particular song did not have any lyrics. So I was wondering why in the whole world my intuition will guide me to listen to this particular song in which there are no lyrics, because how can I get further along with this inspiration? And then I got another nudge, a little nudge, to actually scroll down through the comments. And as I was scrolling down, someone wrote in a comment that the artist seems to be someone who lived many lives. And I started reading that comment over and over again, and in my imagination, and I heard basically the word shamanism, and I knew nothing about shamanism, and I decided that I have to go further and to follow these little insights and inspirations. And I googled shamanism on Google, and the first result that came was Carlos Castaneda, and I started to buy these authors' books, and they helped me tremendously to understand more on a deeper level this spiritual world and our world and things that we can experience as well. Shamanism and the study of shamanism started to open new ways for me of doing things, simple ways of doing things actually, without the need to use so many complex things in order to go further on the path of return. I started to learn how to do shamanic journeying. I started to learn about the importance of dreams. I started to understand more things about the subconscious mind. Because of Carlos Castaneda, I started to follow various different authors such as Robert Maas, Sandra Ingerman. I don't remember the author, but another great shamanic book is called The Urban Shaman. And I've learned so much from these authors, and I'm so grateful. Franz Bardon, with his book Initiation into Hermetics, actually teaches you a lot about self-mastery, mastering yourself. However, shamanism also emphasizes this idea that you have to pay attention to your dreams, to maintain your awareness, and to actually start to contact your allies, your spirit guides, to connect more with the spirit nature. And I was very grateful that shamanism opened up a whole new perspective in which you start to connect with your guides, to obtain information from your guides, to bring forth into your consciousness answers more easily. So here I am, working with Franz Bardon, having these shamanic journeys almost on a regular basis, connecting with my spirit guides. And it came a period where I started again to have these little nudges that I have to deepen my knowledge in regards to tarot. And instead of searching all over the internet books about tarot or materials about tarot, I again went into meditation. I visualized and asked for the right materials for me in order to study tarot. What happened after this visualization really, blown me away big time, because I started to search randomly about certain words, and basically I just told my intuition again, lead me to the right material, lead me to the right material. And long story short, I found some BOTA courses online. I am not part of this society, but I found some courses written by Paul Foster Case and one written by Anne Davis. But whenever I find somebody or some author, I want to read a little bit about the author to know who is behind those lectures or those exercises. Because of that, I started to do some research on this author named Paul Foster Case to see who he was. And through researching him, I understood that no person is in your life for no particular reason. You have certain similarities with that particular person. You have to learn from that person some lessons, and that's why that particular person appears in your life as well. The first thing that I noticed when I was researching about him was that he died in Mexico. And Mexico is actually, the word Mexico means the navel of the moon. And in that land, there are lots of shamans. So I was intrigued, let me tell you. And then I've read that he was actually in the Golden Dawn, and then he renounced and started his own thing. Another coincidence that, and another similarity to what I went through. And again, that was another thing, a little thing that got my attention. These small coincidences and the things that he teaches in his books and materials really caught my attention and made me to study tarot on a deeper level. I started to understand that tarot is more than just cards for divination, but they are actual tools that you can cast spells with. You are not taught by Paul Foster Case this thing, that you can cast spells with tarot, but he teaches you that you can use these cards as a tool for transformation. Then after I finished some lectures written by Paul Foster Case, I went on studying what Anne Davis wrote about extrasensory perception. And I had these really weird sensations as I was reading this woman's writing. I don't know why. To this day, I don't know why. However, she presented each tarot card from the major arcana out of her own perspective. And then, at the end of the writing, she presents the World Tarot card, which is the last tarot card from the major arcana. And lo and behold, the world of power that was representing or associated with this card was the word of power that I received in my first meditation, which was ATTAH, which connects you to a higher consciousness. I was shocked. I cried. I couldn't believe it. I remember that I read and reread the whole thing over and over again because I couldn't believe it that the word that actually started my journey into spirituality was found in Anne Davis' materials. Along my journey, I tried many crazy things, many crazy spells, many crazy visualizations, techniques, exercises, because I'm just obsessed with the practice of magic. I'm obsessed with this subject. But in terms of manifestation, synchronicity, so this is the most crazy manifestation that I experienced so far. And to me, this is the most craziest of all, because I've tried spells, I've tried visualization in order to manifest an apartment, and I succeeded. I tried manifestations in order to get to the beach and so forth. I tried many things for certain purposes or for different desires. However, your life starts to take a huge turn in a right direction only when you start to dedicate each day at least 20 minutes or 10 minutes to place your hands over your heart, because some of you guys ask me, okay, speak about your most crazy manifestation and then tell us how you did it. Well, I did it in a simple manner. I just spoke with my higher self as if I am speaking to another person, and I was asking for the right things for me. Then I maintained at all times, as much as possible, my awareness in the present moment, because if you don't maintain your awareness in the present moment, you cannot see how the environment will shift in order to bring forth to you the very thing that you visualized about. So you may be asking yourself, okay, how do I manifest something? First of all, in order to experience this synchronicity for yourself, you have to decide on what desire, on what thing do you want to bring forth into your life. And I spoke about this subject many times. However, in order to choose that desire, you must try to retreat in meditation, okay? In meditation, and to speak to your higher self as if you are speaking to another person, and to present that desire into meditation. And to ask, is this desire the correct desire for me? Okay, is this the one thing that I should bring it forth from the subtle worlds into the physical plane? In meditation, if you have your body relaxed, okay, meditation is not a complicated process. You can just sit in a chair or lay down in bed, making sure that you don't fall asleep. And when your body is relaxed, you bring forth that desire that you would like to experience in this reality. So let's say that your desire may be to have a car. While you are in this relaxed state, you bring it forth into this state of trance, of relaxation. And you ask, is this desire, okay, to have a car, my heart's deepest desire? Because in that meditation, because your body is relaxed, you will start to feel if that particular desire is the right one for you to actually manifest. And you may find yourself that all your life you spoke about having this car, however, maybe that particular desire is not what your heart is craving for. And you will see, if you actually go all in into a meditation in order to connect with your heart, to connect with unconditional love, you'll actually feel if this desire that is circulating in your mind is the one that is right or not for you. And then let's say that this car, you feel that this is not the actual thing that you want, and the thing that you want is I don't know, maybe a bicycle. Then the next thing, you can choose to do a spell to bring that object into your life, or you can do a visualization. For example, the method that I use the most is the actual method that I presented in the full moon guided ritual. Then, like I've said many times in older videos, you have to be present. You have to also, besides being present, to maintain a high vibrational state, and you maintain this state by listening to audiobooks or YouTube channels that are very motivational and very energetic. You listen to high vibrational music, you drop anything that is related to sadness. At the end of the day, what we as students of magic and of students of the mind, we have to consider, to understand and to apply is to try to embody this word of power, which is I am. Because in your future, you will experience what you hold in your consciousness. And as Neville puts it, your consciousness is your unlimited supply and your God. Okay? But in order to understand that, we have to start to apply these principles, these visualization techniques with awareness on a day-to-day basis in order to understand them on a deeper level. That's it. There is no other way, to be quite honest. And the more you practice, the better you get at it, and the deeper your understanding will be. This has been a long video, so I will end the video now. I hope that you got something useful out of it. I wish you a fantastic day. Let me know your story and your experience with synchronicity and manifestation in the comments down below, and see you next time.